Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Today we're going to talk about the Shuoer Tape Pro. I want to thank Linsoul for sending over the Shuoer Tape Pros. Linsoul, you rock. Alright, so the Tape Pro comes in this very nice and small box. Has some information on it. Here on the back it says that it's 16 ohms of impedance, 105 decibels of sensitivity, and a frequency response of 20 hertz to 30 kilohertz. Has a little graph down there, and inside you get a box with some silicone tips. You get a carrying case, which is very nice and small. You get a little cleaning tool. You get an adapter that goes from 2.5 millimeter to 3.5 millimeter. You get a bag of more tips, silicones, and foams inside there. You get a bag with some extra filters and a bass attenuation tool. And of course you get your IEMs and a cable. The Shuoer tapes are very reminiscent of their previous model with a few differences. They are connected via 2-pin instead of MMCX. And they have removable and swappable bass attenuation filters. Let's talk about the filters, the cable first. The cable defaults into a 2.5 millimeter. Has a nice build to it, nice metal casing, a little bit plasticky, rubbery, small chin slider, and ear hooks that aren't very workable. The cable itself is nice, but it's kind of rubbery, and I mean, it never twists and tangles, but the problem is the ear hooks just don't do their job. They just flop around on the ears. They don't hold the IEM in place, and I just find this cable to be annoying, but also pleasing at the same time. All right, overall build quality wise is okay. They fit in the ears small and wide, but they're a little bit on the heavy side. They don't really fit in my ear very well. They kind of flop around unless I have foam tips on, and the edging on it is just a little too sharp, and I can feel it on my ears and kind of feels like it's going to cut and slice my ears. Overall, it's all right. It's not my favorite. I mentioned the tips. I use Ludos Foam tips, and there'll be a link down below for them. I found that these tips help the most with the seal. They are extremely hard to put on. This has a weird nozzle that's kind of big and thick, and tips will take a while to put on and take off. Do be careful. You could break your tips while you're trying to pull them off. I find that the Ludos does the best job in seal and just holding them in place. As I said, they're just a little funky holding. All right, enough about that. Not a fan of the build or the comfort. It's okay. It's doable. There's better out there. How do they sound? These are the hardest IEMs I've ever reviewed. The most confusing, annoying, and finicky IEMs. So I'm not going to give my basic overview of sound as far as bass, mids, and treble. I'm just going to tell you a few things that I liked and a few things that I didn't, and things that are very consistent. All right, so you can change the filters, as I mentioned, and on the front here, you just unscrew those two screws. When they come stock, the red one will be up here and the black one will be back here. And I found that when it's in that setting, the bass is very boomy. It's a warm sounding signature, has slightly kind of muffled and rolled off top end, and they sound a little stuffy and veiled. If you swap that filter to the way that I have it, so the black is in here and the red is down here, the filter opens things up. You get a little bit more airy presence. It sounds a little more extended out, and even though you lose some of the dynamics and the punchiness and a little bit of the warmth, it seems more cohesive and a little more balanced. All right, so things that I like about them. I like the bass. The bass is fun. It's very extended, has nice reach down into the sub bass. You get good rumble, and it's it's okay detailed. It's not the best in resolution, and it has some issues with just sounding a little bit unclean, so to speak. It's a little lacking in the resolution areas. So another thing that I like is the soundstage. Even though it's not the widest, it's not the deepest, or the best layered, it is a very pleasing soundstage, and it's a fun and engaging soundstage. It's not going to wow factor you, but at the same time, it's not going to disappoint. The soundstage is actually quite pleasing, does a good job with instrument separation and isolation. For the things I don't like, the mids. The mids on the Shuoer Tape Pros are just a hot mess. It doesn't matter which tip you have on, does not matter what filter you're using, they're recessed and they sound thin and they sound harsh and grainy, especially in the upper mids. They are very much in the range of sibilance and are just, no. And then another thing that I don't like about them is the tone. The tonality of the Shuoer tape just does not sound natural, and the timbre is just off. Things just do not sound realistic. There's a very much a metallic sheen to everything, and they're just very grating to my ears. Another thing I don't like is the treble. The treble is very much lower treble presented, and then everything above that is just pretty much just rolled off and gone. They lack air, they lack sparkle, and they're just not a very pleasing sounding treble whatsoever. Is there anything that I did like? Yeah, every now and then. Here's the strangest thing. So I said that they're finicky. They're extremely finicky when it comes to source and when they come to gear used. So I really did enjoy them on the NextDrive Spectra X. If I were to say that there was one piece of gear that I could listen to the Shuoer Tape Pros with, it would be the NextDrive Spectra X. And for the most part, all of the complaints that I had were mitigated enough to the point where they were tolerable. On all the other gear that I used them on, it was very, very much a hit or miss depending on song. It didn't matter if I was using them balanced, if I was using them unbalanced, if I was using them on my other DAPs, which are Sony NWA105 or a Pioneer XDP30R, if I was using them on another dongle like the X-Duo Link, or if I was using them on a Mytek Liberty or a Silcris DAC 1421 or SPL Phonitor SE, Tor Audio, Roger. It did not matter what these were on. I just could not get a happy medium. It was one song, oh, these sound pretty good. Oh, this is good. And then 20 songs of skip, this is harsh, this hurts, this is painful, these just don't sound good. Click, 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 click. Oh, this sounds good. And so I just found it to be a very annoying, very confusing IEM, and it's extremely finicky. So for the price tag, the Shuoer Tape Pros are a hot mess of just annoying, finicky, confusing, sometimes good. Do I recommend them? No. Not unless you are really into tweaking and want to find the that one setup that just is incredible. If you are big into EQ and you like to tweak and change an IEM with tips and filters and find that happy medium, then here you go, Tape Pro, but I don't recommend it. Get yourself a FIO FH3, SimGot EN700 Pro. Excuse me. Sorry, they're coughing me up. They're so annoying. Jade Audio EA1, Jade Audio EA3, Moondrop SSR, Thea Audio Voyager 3. I mean, you can name all sorts of things. TFC number 3. They're all better than the Tape Pro and will not frustrate you and annoy you to the degree that these did to me. I am just, wow. These are going back in the box, and I'll probably never use them again. Shuoer, I'm sorry. I really wanted to love these, but I just can't. They're just too annoying. Linsoul, thank you for sending over the Shuoer Tape Pro. I wish that I could give them a good review. I'm sorry. I appreciate you sending them to me, but they're just not for me. This has been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on the screen is a subscription link, notification bell. If you haven't already, please check those off. And then check out the links down below for information regarding gear that was used, music playlists, gear that's recommended, how you can contact the channel, support the channel, follow the channel, all that kind of stuff is down below. So check out those links down below, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks, and I'll catch you in the next video.